Hi, and welcome back. Today I want to ask a very simple question, one that sits at the very heart of Christianity, but also cuts far beyond it. The question is, why would God write a book? Because when you think about it, Christianity without the Bible is almost unthinkable. Every sermon, every teaching, every ritual, it all points back to this thick volume of pages, compiled who knows when, by who knows who. This book, this supposed message from God, has caused more division, hatred, and bloodshed than any other in history. Millions have died not because of God, but because of words about God. Entire wars were fought over commas and interpretations, over who had the correct version of the divine truth. The irony is staggering. If God's intention was to unite humanity through a book, then he failed more spectacularly than any author in history. For thousands of years, the Bible was taken word for word. Questioning a verse could cost you your life. People were burned, tortured, silenced, not for doing evil, but for daring to read the same book differently. Think of the great disputes, countless sects, schisms, and councils debating who God loves and who he condemns. Now, some Christian traditions try to soften this. The Bible is inspired by God, they say, not meant to be taken word for word. Others, however, clutch it with white knuckles, insisting that every single line is absolute truth. And this often leads them into logical traps that they can't quite escape. But whether you're loose or strict about interpretation, the Bible is always treated as sacred, holy, untouchable. You can read it, you can admire it, you can quote it endlessly, but criticize it, question it, change it? God forbid. Now don't worry, I'm not here to throw stones at the Bible, that's not my style. My question is, why a book? Why would a supreme being, master of time and space, creator of galaxies, choose such a fragile, clumsy tool of communication? Something so fragile, so easy to misquote, to mistranslate, to misuse. A text that demands priests and preachers to explain it to people who cannot even read. A book that must constantly be defended from the erosion of time and scientific inquiries. Why would God risk that? Doesn't that sound a little primitive for a supreme being? I mean, think about what we expect from intelligence today. The smarter something is, the more elegant its solutions become. Today we build machines that can drive themselves. We program robots to vacuum our floors or design algorithms for automated production at factories. We embed instructions directly into them, so when the machine wakes up, it already knows what to do. Even your washing machine knows what to do. Now, if we, with our human brains, can design code to guide a robot, don't you think the God of the universe could have done something far more elegant for us? If God truly wanted us to follow some rules for living on Earth, wouldn't it have been far more advanced to program us with an inner compass? So that no matter who we are, or what language we speak, we would simply know what is right and what is wrong. We would still have free will, of course. We could still choose greed, violence, or selfishness if we wished. But at least the compass would be there, inside, pointing us back to love, to respect, to harmony. Now compare that to religious rules. The religion says follow these commandments, even if you don't understand them, even if they don't feel right to you. That's not free will, that's obedience. Think about it. When you're told to follow rules you don't understand, rules that come from outside, rules you must accept on authority alone, how is that freedom? But an inner compass? It simply offers guidance. You can follow it or ignore it. The choice is always yours. Isn't that a little more divine than an old dusty book written in an obscure tongue? Here's what I think might be closer to the truth. We already have such a compass. It's already built into us. We call it the inner voice. You know it. You've heard it many times. That whisper inside that never quite lies to you. The one that tells you to eat vegetables while your hand reaches for cookies. But here's the real question. Why don't we listen to it? Why do we prefer the noise of social rules, the authority of institutions, the fear of stepping out of line? Why do we train ourselves to ignore the one voice that is always honest with us? Think of how we normally make decisions. We analyse, we weigh pros and cons, we calculate benefits. We ask, what do I get out of this? But that's not how the inner voice speaks. The inner voice doesn't bargain, it doesn't calculate profits, it doesn't care for status or dominance. It whispers something far more uncomfortable. Your religion may not be based on truth. Your relationships might be built on false foundations. Your job could be feeding the destruction of the earth while enriching those who already have too much. Your grand career plans might be nothing but hollow fantasies. Who wants to hear that? Nobody. And so we silence it. But the voice is stubborn. It never leaves. It never stops whispering, always hoping we will pay attention. And unlike the holy texts, it is not bound to any religion or esoteric doctrine or occult practice. It is not borrowed from priests or philosophers. It is a natural part of yourself. So what happens if you listen to it? Your life begins to shift, not necessarily in ways that are easy or socially comfortable, but in ways that are true, in ways that bring inner peace, in ways that make you feel, perhaps for the first time, at home in the world. So the real question is not why would God write a book, but rather, why are we so obsessed with the book when the voice inside us has been speaking all along? Listen closely, not to me, not to the crowd, not to the noise. Listen to yourself. That quiet voice may be the only honest friend you have in that moment. Because here's what I've noticed. The more we listen to that voice, the less we need external authorities to tell us how to live. The less we need to argue about interpretations or defend doctrines. The less we need to convince others that our way is the right way. We simply know, and we act from that knowing. And you may find that the divine communication you were searching for was never ink on a page. It was the whisper in your own heart, and it's been there all along, patiently waiting for you to remember how to listen.